ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the Sex and Suicide Podcast. We are here on Mental Health and Motivational Monday with a good friend of mine from way back, Mr. Gilles Bernard. And Gilles, do you want to say hello to the people?
Hello, everybody.
Perfect. Gilles, I'm really excited to have Gilles here because I just learned out right now that he's been, taking it easy on the partying as well.
Yep.
So I've been sober now for almost a year and a half, and you've been going for about 7 months or so?
Well, it's been off and on, right? I mean,
Sure.
it's always a work in progress, as you say, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, I've been definitely laying low, right? Not
Yeah.
going out as much, taking care, surrounding myself with different people.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
So what brought that on, just out of curiosity?
Well, I mean, eventually, you do realize as you start to get older, one night of going out takes 3 days of recovery. So that's been going on for a while, right?
Yeah.
But I also found that as I would go periods sober, my business was better.
Yeah,
my sessions were better. And I thought I was thinking a lot clearer. Things were just better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I used to always say this back in the day, years and years ago. My clients that I would see on Fridays and Saturdays were getting much better results than the ones that were Monday, Tuesday. Right? Sure. Not that it was ever that bad,
Right.
but it was time, right? It was time to kind of shape up a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
your business started taking more of a priority. What do you want to tell us about your business?
Well, where to start, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I do first and foremost, I do hypnotherapy, right?
Yep.
So that's where I first got into the hypnosis world.
Mm-hmm.
I train as well, so I teach a course twice a year. I just finished one a few weeks ago.
Right on.
So people who want to learn how to hypnotize and
They can become. Is it a certification that they get from
it
that?
is exactly a certification. So you're certified as a hypnotist,
Right.
with the National Guild of Hypnotists, which is one of the biggest organizations for hypnosis in the world.
Right.
And I also do corporate shows and comedy shows, which you were at in one not too long ago.
Not too long ago. Yeah, I think that was in the fall, kind of November.
Yeah, I think I did one in September, one in November.
I think I was at the second one.
Yeah, so the November one you were in.
Yeah, absolutely. That was awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing another one soon, I think, here. I was
Perfect.
just making some arrangements to set up a different venue to go do it at.
Awesome. Oh, you're not doing it at the you're doing it at the Wolf Performance Hall in the Galleria, right?
That's right, yeah. So I did Wolf Hall, which was good, but there's a lot of, it's a pretty big venue for starters, and you need to get insurance for all these different things. So I decided to, and plus you got to pay for the venue, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
after doing it a couple of times, I've had a few people approach me who wanted me to bring it to their venue and give it to me free of charge. So,
Oh, nice.
So I said, well, I'll think about it, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to overplay it too much. It is London after all.
Sure,
So when you're doing one open to the public, you don't want to do them too often. So I gave it a little rest as I was doing private and comedy shows for Christmas parties and private functions. So coming the next couple of months, I think it's ready to do another one open to the public.
Good for you, buddy.
Yeah,
That's
should be good.
awesome. I'll be at that one.
I bet you will.
Yeah, I will.
I'll get you on stage.
Absolutely. Well, now that I know, it's a little tamer. I don't know what to expect at these hypnosis things. There's hypnotists out there like Tony Lee, for example, who's X-rated, and you do some things that are. You're not X-rated. Like, you do some comedy.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. And you keep it fairly clean for the most part.
Well, you have to understand that I'm also running a therapeutic aspect
Right,
practice, right? So,
yeah.
So what I tend to do is, I think you can be funny without being raunchy, right? I'm
Yep.
nothing against those guys. That's
Sure.
their style. That's their
Yeah.
thing. But I like to I like to get people on stage to kind of do some demonstrations, right?
Mm-hmm,
if you remember, like, I had somebody chew an onion who thought it was an apple.
That was awesome.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
that was probably my favorite. I haven't seen that before.
yeah, so you figure, if I can make somebody chew an onion and taste an apple or think it's an apple, well, just think of the possibilities of somebody who has, who's addicted to sugar or can't stop drinking Coca-Cola. Like, I remember a client years ago, I had him. He told me he hated V8 and he was addicted to Coca-Cola. So I hypnotized him to believe that
V8 was Coke.
Yeah, so he stopped drinking it because it tasted like V8 to him.
No shit.
Right?
No shit.
So people in the audience can kind of see, yes, something is going on here, but there's also kind of a message there that you can learn how you can implement it in your life.
Right.
Right? Because anybody can be raunchy on stage, and
Yeah.
all power to them.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
to at least, deliver a message so it makes the hypnotherapy aspect of it seem
More attractive.
exactly
Yeah.
not like, oh, this guy has no idea what he's doing, he's got his pants down, there's no way I'm going in the hypnotherapist's office, which I get all the time, right? I really do. I get it all the time,
Yeah.
right? So when people come into my office, and I always ask them what they think it is, and once they've told me what it is, I'm like, I can't believe you walked through my doors.
Yeah.
Right? You
Yeah.
brave soul, right? Because
kidding.
what they think it is and what it actually is are usually two different things.
Right. So let's talk about the beginning of your interest in hypnotherapy and hypnosis in general, because it's a very unique field to be going into. And you and I have never really discussed how this kind of came to be. I just kind of met you, and at one point, I was your realtor, and we were looking for some locations, and we found some stuff that we thought was good, turned out to be shit.
Yep,
We took a step back. But at that point, that's kind of the first time, besides the DJing, I kind of knew what you were into. So how did you decide to go down that road to hypnosis? It's very unique.
Yeah, well, I first got interested in it in high school. Right?
Okay.
So I remember, most times in high school, I was the guy skipping the assemblies, and I wouldn't be there, and I'd be out with my buddies smoking or doing whatever we do, right?
Right.
Whatever high school kids do.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yeah.
But we went to this one, and it was a hypnotist that came to our high school. I was probably grade 11. I forget, grade 11 or 12. But anyway, so it was me and a couple of my buddies. We go there, and one of my buddies gets up on stage, right?
Okay.
So he's up on stage. The hypnotist is doing his show, doing his thing, getting everybody to do the little suggestions and stuff, similar to the kind of stuff I was doing, right?
Yep.
And at the end of the show, he asks, anybody here smoke? And so my buddy raises his hand, he smokes.
Yeah.
So the hypnotist snaps him back into trance and says, you will not smoke for 1 week. So at that point, I'm looking at the clock because it's around 3:30.
Yeah.
By school gets out at that time. I think they've changed it now, but
Right.
it was around 3:30. So it was a Friday, 3:30. So we leave and we're out waiting for our buses. We're all smoking, and my buddy's there. He's not smoking. So
Okay.
I'm thinking, I'm like, cool, right? So I'm
Yeah.
kind of watching him, right? Not really
Right.
saying anything, but I'm watching him. And then, that weekend we were out probably having drinks at some high school party or whatever,
Right.
right? And,
Yeah.
and he's there. He's not smoking.
Was he drinking though?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so he's drinking, he's not smoking, and I don't remember. I didn't really journal it or anything.
Right,
I
sure,
was
but
kinda-
you're intrigued though.
yeah,
right?
I'm watching
Because-
him. I'm just
yeah.
kind of silently watching him, and then the next week we're back at school, and the funniest thing is he would come out at break, like he was out there,
Yeah.
but he wasn't smoking.
Right.
So it was weird. Like he had the habit of come out at break outside, but he wasn't smoking. So then the next Friday at 3:30, he comes out and he's like, "Hey, you got to smoke?"
Really?
Yeah.
So he timed it to a week.
Well, yeah. Well, no, he didn't. The suggestion is.
The suggestion was
So
okay.
it's kind of like, you can give. We do this all the time. We give ourselves a suggestion, like, if it's a really important day and you set your alarm for 6 a.m. and you wake up at 5:59.
Yeah.
That's the same thing, right?
Right.
The subconscious knows. So I can give somebody a suggestion. I'll give you. I want you to. I don't know, keep quiet or open your eyes after 630 seconds.
Okay.
And it'll know.
Really?
Yeah, usually within a second.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
fucking phenomenal.
So that's kind of what got me into it. I was like, so at that point, I'm thinking like, I got to learn this, right?
Right.
My girlfriend's getting hypnotized. Yeah. My mom's getting hypnotized. Everybody's getting hypnotized.
so at first was it kind of like, hey, like a power thing?
Yeah, well, I
it's
looked
like
at
I
it.
can have some
Well,
power. Or-
exactly. Well, I mean, you're in high school, right?
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
see this
sure.
go down, and you're just like, man, like this is going down. I got to learn this. So,
Right.
so I really got intrigued in it then, but didn't really study it too much.
Right.
Just kind of like, this is cool. I'm interested in it. I don't know. I guess it kind of took the back burner, right?
Right.
So, but it was definitely intrigued by interest.
Right.
So that's kind of where it started there.
No shit.
Yeah. So
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So
So-
it started that young. It started in high school
Yeah.
for you. And
Yeah,
that's where
yeah.
the interest. That's cool, man.
Yeah, I really got into it then, and then I had read a couple books here and there, not really telling people about it because it wasn't anything that it was too serious about,
Right.
and it was still kind of. I
Right.
mean, hypnosis goes into spurts where it's accepted, and then some people, depending what they've seen, like again, if your only experience is an X-rated show,
Yeah, sometimes
you're gonna say, "Get away from me," right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
while as in other people like, "Oh, I know somebody who stopped smoking," their belief on it is a little bit different, right?
Right.
So
right.
back then, most people, anybody I told, like my mother or something, like they were just like, "My God, are you kidding me? Like, what are you
Right.
getting into now?" Right?
Yeah, sure, because it's not really considered a real career back, like
Right.
to our parents' generation, anyways. They're
No.
like, "What is this gimmicky shit?"
Exactly.
Probably, right?
Well, yeah, they didn't believe in it or didn't
Right.
even know what it was. And,
Right.
And back then, I probably didn't even know what it was.
Sure, yeah.
I just want to learn this to mess with people. So,
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of where it got triggered, and then. As you know, I had the record store, right?
Yep.
I'm a DJ. I had the record
Yep.
store, so I got a
Release records, right?
release. Yep. So
So how did you get into that? Let's kind of gear into that a little bit because that kind of took us your priority for a little while, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
so that was I went to high school in Woodstock, so that's kind of where my first experience with the hypnotist was.
Right.
Then I moved to London. Right?
Yeah,
Come to
okay.
Funshaw, right? Come
Yeah.
to Fanshawe, have some fun.
Sure.
And then I got introduced to the party scene
Yeah.
and the techno scene, house scene. And so,
Right.
of course, I love that. Got
Yeah.
into that. So I started DJing,
Yeah,
right? As
sure.
you and I have crossed paths many times doing that in the past,
absolutely.
right? Coco's and
Yeah.
here in the clubs.
Everywhere, yeah.
Right. So, that kind of took my priority for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as I was DJing, I had an opportunity to take over the record store, which, I was already spending like who knows how much on a record,
Oh,
right?
fuck, man.
Like back then, we were spending
Dance,
what?
did you do dancerecords.com?
No.
Or did you, because you had Release, did you get from Release, or where were you getting your records from back then?
I was getting them from Release. I would get them from, what was that other record store in London there? Or, yeah, it was...
Not Dr. Disc.
Yeah, it was Dr. Disc.
It was
right?
Dr. Disc, yeah.
So, and
they had in the basement.
Yeah, so I
Right.
would go there and I would get some from Release. Release was open. They had their own guy from Toronto working here,
Yeah.
right? So I was getting it from there, and I go to Play D and order some online.
Yeah.
And back then, like what we were paying, like $20 for one song.
Yeah,
Right? So
yeah.
you guys out there buying MP3s, I don't know how good you got.
Oh, no shit, man. That's why everybody can be a DJ now.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Everybody and their grandmother can just go and rip them off and download just like the top 100 off a pirate site, and not even paying for it, right?
Absolutely.
Back then. So I was paying, so I figured, well, if I'm paying $20 a track,
Yeah.
and I just enjoyed it, right?
Yeah.
I decided, why not take over the record store,
Mm-hmm.
right? So me and Jay took it over, and that's what we were doing for a while, right?
Really? So you and Jay took it over?
Yeah.
I didn't know that you took it over together.
Yeah. So me
No
and
shit.
Jay kind of partnered up together,
Awesome.
and we were working it together, doing it, running it, and so we did that for a few years. It wasn't really much of a moneymaker, but I mean, it paid the bill, right?
And
Like,
you got your music for free.
exactly,
probably.
right?
Yeah.
So I was getting my music, and it
Yeah.
it was really just like you'd show up to work and just party, right? You're just DJing and selling people.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool.
So
yeah.
it wasn't bad for being young at that age to
Right.
do that, right? So
I wish that still existed.
yeah,
man.
right.
Yeah.
Well, vinyl's making a comeback. It
Yeah.
definitely is, but I
we
just
should
don't.
reopen Release.
I don't think it's going to come back enough to make money, right?
No.
So
Yeah.
So anyway, so I did that for a while until the MP3 boom came in, right? And it was
Yeah.
to a point where, I shut down. I said enough was enough. We shut down, and I think a year later, Release Records Toronto's supplier went down. Like they
Really?
stopped. So everyone had no choice but to kind of go with that. So
Yeah.
it was a smart move. It would just been another year of kind of getting worse and worse. So.
Yeah. That was the Beatport trend.
Right.
Yeah, when
exactly.
Beatport
Right.
started
Beatport
picking
started
up
coming
track.
out. Well, it wasn't even quite because when I got closed it, I was going on Beatport, but I still wasn't finding too much good music.
Right,
Right. So it
right.
was still like there was a stale moment where there's like
like, yeah,
nothing,
there's
right?
not-
Gray
yeah,
area where
yeah.
there was no more vinyl, but the MP3. Not everybody was releasing an MP3, so it was kind of like, what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
You eventually had to crash and go, right? So,
Right. Yeah.
So
that was a tough time. I didn't want to, man.
No, I know.
I love the feel of vinyl.
For sure, for
Switching
sure.
to the CDJ was a hard move. Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, I fought it for a while, but
Yeah.
it's to the point where it's either you do it or
Yeah.
you're done.
And,
So
and the fucking lugging around the Tech 1200s everywhere you go.
well, that I don't miss.
Yeah, exactly.
That
I
I
don't
don't
miss that
miss.
either.
That I don't miss. Actually,
and the
we-
crates, they had wheels and everything. They were
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah,
luggage,
yeah.
but they're still getting
Well,
them in and
still,
everything.
like we had a vinyl night not too long ago at Rum Runners there,
Oh, I wish I had been
and
there.
I pulled up when I had my big bag. I'm like, Rum Runners, those stairs, right?
Yeah.
It's like probably about 30 stairs or so.
Yeah.
By the time I got upstairs, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right? I don't even want to fucking play right now. I don't miss this at all. I'm just carrying my fucking my two USBs, right?
Yeah.
So
Man.
I was pretty tired.
Dude, I can go to my fuck those days. Like they were so much fun, but so much I don't remember.
Yeah.
But then the memories that are plastered forever are
Yeah.
the white marks on the vinyl that I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
up
yeah.
at my cottage right now. Pull them out, be like, oh, I know what I did on that record.
Right. Yeah, I hear you there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So okay, so that was the DJ thing. Obviously, you're still kind of doing it, and you're well known in the city and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Toronto even. So
Yep.
that's fucking awesome in itself. You stuck with it. I kind of fell
Yep.
off the
Yep.
rails, but in terms of getting back on track with the Hypnosis. How did you start juggling the two of those? Because one is getting up, fairly early in the morning to basically treat your clients.
Yep.
And then on the weekends, as we discussed, at that point, we were kind of weekend warriors.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So how did you juggle that?
Well, so once I closed the record store, I started working for a call center, right? I was a bilingual sales rep, right? First language French. So
Right.
it was really good. I enjoyed it for a few months. And then after a while, I was like, because I was so used to working for myself with Release,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there stuck in a cubicle working for people. I was like,
It's hard to
just
go
no
to
fucking way, right?
Yeah,
So I'm like,
yeah.
So I would just sit there online and I was hunting down and poof, I find a couple hypnosis courses, certifications that are in the area. So
Right.
So it's a pretty funny story actually. It found me. So I decide to take
That's
this
cool.
course. I decided to take this course. I take my holidays. I take this course. So as I take this course, I'm dating. I was dating a certain girl at the time, Andrea, and we were going to move to Montreal. I was going to move to Montreal, the club, to DJ in the clubs, right? She was going to go to school, and I was going to go there to DJ the clubs, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. Which would have been sick too for a bit.
Oh yeah,
for a
right.
bit. Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't. I'd probably be lying in a ditch right now. But but anyway, so she signs up for school. We signed 2 apartments. Right, we both have good credit. Like, we're both good. And so this was like back in November. So we go back up there in March just to make sure her application is sent in and that we get these places.
Yep.
And McGill says, we don't even have your application.
Oh, fuck.
So she doesn't have our application, and we get denied for both places.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't. It was meant to be. Like, I couldn't.
The universe couldn't have told you.
Right.
Yeah.
So at that time, I'd already quit my job. I'm like, peace, right? I'm moving to Montreal. Sure. So now I'm back in London. And I'm back in London. I don't have a job.
Right.
I finished this hypnosis course.
Right.
So I'm like,
I think I saw you at that breakfast restaurant that one time because I was back from Sault Ste. Marie from pilot training at that time, I think.
Yep.
That place in the North End, it used to be like there was Crave restaurant, and then there's the one beside, and I think you were with her at that time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was with my mom, and I was like, man, I haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah, exactly.
So that must have been right around the time.
Around that time. Yeah, it was around that time. So here I am. I'm, I quit my job.
Yeah.
I just took this hypnosis course.
Yeah.
And we don't even really have a place to stay. So I end up moving back in with her, and I say, well, I might as well open up this practice.
Right.
So I open up the doors. I'm like, might as well give this a crack, right? I'm just freshly certified.
Right.
I didn't even know what I was going to do with it. I probably wouldn't have used it had I gone to Montreal.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would have got lost in the nightclubs, right? So I open up, and people just started coming.
That's awesome.
It just kind of started happening, and it was working, and
Did you do any marketing at all at that point?
Barely any.
Really?
I got somebody to make me, I paid $300 for my website at the time.
Yeah.
They could contact me through my website. I got some brochures done, some business cards.
Yeah.
And I was sharing an office with a laser therapist, and it just started happening, and people were coming. So, yeah. It just happened.
That's wild, buddy.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. So this was all kind of meant to be. It seems like,
Clearly.
and I've known you for a while, and you always are the kind of person that kind of you watch for the signs, and everything happens for a reason. I love that mentality, by the way.
Yep.
So when something like that happens to you and it starts flowing, you're like, okay, this is working. I'm going to build on this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and I didn't realize at the time, but playing for when you're DJing and playing for big crowds of people, that's a good feeling.
It is a cool feeling.
It's a good feeling, right?
Too, kind of.
Right. So you're looking for it, but if I think equally, if not better, is being able to put somebody in that hypnotic trance and help them so rapidly and quickly. Somebody to help them stop smoking or to remove their anxiety, their fears of flying or fears of all this different stuff. That's an incredible feeling too.
Yeah.
So
a more meaningful thing that you're doing.
Well,
really.
yeah, I'm actually helping people.
Yeah.
So, we used to have this joke back in the day where I was like, I'd go to the club and I'd be DJing and everyone would get messed up, and then during the week I'd bring them in and fix them. Right?
Yeah. But that's awesome.
So either way, I got you.
Double dipping.
I know. I got
double dipping. Yeah,
I got you.
I never thought of it that way.
It was just a joke. It's not really what we do.
I know.
But you know what I mean? It's a joke to think that, I'm out in the clubs, everyone's drinking, then, you want to sober up? Come see me on Monday, right?
Sure.
But I really realized that it's a much more fulfilling thing.
Yeah.
Right? So I started to doing hypnotherapy and
focusing your energy more so on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing it that and then training people. And then, eventually people started calling me and says, well, can you come do a demonstration or a comedy show? And I said, well, I don't do comedy shows.
Right.
And they're like, why not?
Right.
Like, I don't know. Maybe I should.
Yeah.
So I started doing them,
yeah.
right? So I started training, and I've been training nonstop, right? So
Yeah.
I train with all these different people. So a lot of the money I put back into to learn the craft, and it wasn't just like a one course thing, right?
I remember you told me about that. You've gone into the US to do some seminars and stuff and crazy training.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. So I've actually managed to even a lot of these really good hypnotists are starting to get a bit older. So I've gone and just stayed at their house for a week and just trained one-on-one with some.
That's
right?
amazing, dude.
Yeah, you gotta drain their secrets out of them, and some of them it's good to go to seminars, but one-on-one is good too. So I've been to the States several times.
Good for you.
Several times to get some training done, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw your show, so you can put people under fairly quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember when we had this conversation. This was probably a few years ago now because we haven't seen each other in a while.
Yep.
But when you were telling me when you were first starting out, and then at that time I saw you and it had been a while, and you're like, now, man, he's like, I just got them so quick, and and you were so passionate about the way that you spoke about it. Which was really awesome to see that. Who was your trainer? Like when you said you got certified, who was the guy that certified you?
Well, there was
originally.
It was a woman in on the other side of Toronto who was teaching a course that was developed by a guy in California.
Okay.
So I figured, well, if she's teaching the same thing,
might as well
it's
go
probably
closer.
best to maybe train with the guy himself. But I mean, I figured, like, I don't know.
Try it out.
I figured, you know, I tend to catch on to things somewhat quickly.
Sure.
I like to, I guess, kind of, I don't want to say arrogant, but I believe in myself a little bit, right? So I thought, well, as long as you give me the material, I think I'll be able to get it, right? So I decided to just stay here. So I would drive from London to Toronto, the other side of Toronto, Friday, and then I actually met one of the students who let me stay at her place during the weekend, right? So I would just drive each weekend for 3 weekends and just sit there and take it, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened. So that was the first course that I took.
That's a cool adventure in itself, man. Just met someone, stayed at her place, did
your well, she was like an older woman. She's like, well, my son's gone away to college, and I got a room. I'm like,
so you didn't hit it then?
No, I thought about it. No, I didn't. Come on, no.
Yeah.
So it was cool that I was getting a hotel the first weekend, and my intention was to get a hotel the other 2 weekends. But she's like, hey, you know, you might as well sound like yoink, you know, why not, right? So I did that, and that was the beginning of the certification. Although I had I had read a few books, and I had a basic understanding.
Were the books that you were reading, was it hypnosis or was it NLP? Because
Hypnosis.
Hypnosis, Because a lot of people, I think, start with NLP, do they not?
Well, there's a lot of NLP is. I'm going to be certified in NLP very soon, teaching it, right?
Which is neuro-linguistic programming for people that don't know what that means.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're all kind of intertwined together, but the NLP is really good. It's very fast, you know, techniques, and good for sales and stuff like that.
And picking up women, apparently.
Yeah.
Or men, or whatever your choice
whatever
is.
You're looking or both.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, absolutely. But it was hypnosis what I did. Mine was a hypnotherapy. It was a course that...
so right from the beginning, you went hypnotherapy.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was taught how to take care of people's issues right off the hop, right? So...
And that interested you. You wanted to help people, like ever since you saw your friend quit smoking.
Well, like I said, I saw that maybe the comedy hypnotist. I think that's what kind of got me into it. Right, was the comedy.
But you actually wanted to make it long lasting, and
well, I think it's just that's the course I took, right? So then I started thinking, well, you know, like I said, I didn't even know what I was going to do with it because when I took it, my intention was to go to Montreal and go clubbing.
Yeah.
So as I took the course, I took it because that's the only one I found. It happened to be close by. So once I took that, and then Montreal didn't work, I was just kind of like almost like forced to do it. Not forced, but that's kind of like the only card I had left right now because I didn't have a place to stay, and I just quit my job, which was a good paying job, right? So I was like, okay, well, let's open up here and see what happens. And so you know, if you would have had asked me way back in the day when you'd see me at Coco's that I was going to be a therapist, I would have pointed at you and laughed.
No kidding.
I mean, I need therapy. I'm not going to be the therapist. I need the therapy.
But when you say you need therapy, when you go and see these other hypnosis masters, I guess we can call them.
Yep, master
you
hypnotist.
get that therapy through them, right?
Every single time.
Yeah, you told me that you go train with these people and you get the therapy yourself to make sure that you're taken care of as well.
Every single time I do. So I always say, don't tell me, show me. Right? So, you know, and it's funny that I've met a lot of people in this profession that are afraid to go into hypnosis.
No shit.
And, you know, some of these, I remember a wise master hypnotist once told me is that if you're not willing to go into hypnosis and experience it, then you have no business doing it to other people.
Yeah.
Whether it's on stage or whether it's therapeutically.
That makes sense.
If you won't do it, then you have no business doing it, right?
Yeah.
So
it's like you don't believe in what you
exactly. Yes. I mean, you mean to tell me you have no problems? You're perfect? I mean, and we've always known, like, the best hypnotists are the ones that have used it to help themselves, right? Like, do you want to go to somebody who's read it out of a book or who's been through it?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm always show me, right? So every time, hey, hypnotize me. I don't mind if I have to pay. Do it.
How many times do you think you've been hypnotized?
Well, by other people?
Yeah, or just in general. Oh, you hypnotize yourself too,
yeah,
right?
man. I mean, I have my recording studio at home, and I make my own personal sessions, right? So there's several different ways to go in hypnosis. You can do it on your own, but for me, because I have a microphone and, you know, my Ableton and everything, I'll just record a session, plop the headphones on, and down I go. So How many times have I been hypnotized? Too many to count, buddy.
No shit.
It's like all the time, every day.
Is it every day?
No, not every day, but
pretty close?
almost. Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty consistent. I do it in waves, like we're talking about your juicer, right?
Yeah,
I'll do
yeah.
it all the time.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then I'm
phases.
feeling good, and I just
Yeah.
don't, and I'm working out. But I do it as much as possible, one way or another. I
Really?
usually lay my head down for 5 to 10 minutes at least, right,
Mm-hmm.
to at least center myself.
What do you try to do to like reprogram your own mind? What kind of like do you say to yourself? Walk me through like a hypnosis session and what you get out of it.
Well, you could almost kind of consider it a guided meditation, right?
Right,
So
okay.
there's different ways to go about it. So one, there will be limiting beliefs that I have that have been instilled inside me as a child, right?
Right.
So where
And-
hypnotic regression can go back and we can kind of find out some of those limiting beliefs. So
And we've had this talk about how a lot of these issues most of them
Yeah.
stem at childhood, right?
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because between the age of born and 5 years old, you're completely subconscious, right? There's no filter.
Right.
So you're learning everything for the first time. So everything that you're experiencing is getting right into your emotional mind. So there's nothing to guard it, right?
Crazy,
So
yeah.
So to go back there and find out some of those limiting beliefs is huge, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like one I just did, and again, we're talking about a little spiritual tip is, when I was young, very young, my parents would bring me to Catholic church, right?
Right.
And nothing against Catholic church, okay?
Sure.
So let's not,
Yeah.
don't bash me here.
No,
But
no one will.
All
Yeah.
I'm saying is that, I was raised going through that, if you don't do this or this, you're going to hell, right?
Sure.
So it felt like it was like something that you had to do. And, so people walk away from that stuff because of that. So there's limiting beliefs that right off the hop, I mean, the 10 Commandments and all this stuff, it's game over from the get-go,
Right,
right? So you
right.
carry a lot of guilt because you're not living the life you're supposed to be, or apparently that
Right.
the spiritual or God, whatever you want to look at. So
Right.
those limiting beliefs, I've addressed, and that's part of what's really released me in sobriety.
Yeah. No shit,
That,
man.
that is
Wow.
huge, right? You don't realize it, that those were probably one of the biggest keys to my release to being sober.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because you're carrying around guilt and shame that you don't even know you've been carrying around since you were 1. Mm-hmm. You understand? Like
Yeah.
1 years old. Like,
You just
Yeah.
don't know.
but you do in hypnosis.
So
you
how
can
you-
find it.
So how did that like these being a 1-year-old, how did that kind of sober you up? Like explain that process to me.
Well, no, what happens is again, in my office, I'm doing hypnotic regression. I
Right.
get to go back to the root of people's problems, which is
Right.
always between the ages of born and 5 years old or so, right? So,
Right.
so it gives me the opportunity to go back there and find some of those things. It's like, I can address those with myself. So it's kind of like when you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet, right? So you grab a plate, then another one pops up, right? Then
Right.
you grab another one, pops
Yeah.
up. So eventually, as you start working through them,
Sure.
you're getting lower and lower and back and back and back with hypnotic techniques. So you can go back there and remember and re-experience things. Like you can remember what you heard,
No shit.
all
Wow.
those things that happen there. It's in your mind. It's been recorded.
Yeah.
You just don't have access to it. But in hypnosis, we can.
Wow.
So it allows me to go back there and kind of remember some of the things that were said and done and what you heard and what you experienced and all
Right.
this stuff. And again, there's no way I would ever know this
Right.
had I not been doing it to other people for 10 years, right?
Right,
So then
yeah.
it helps me that way to do it too.
No kidding. So I didn't realize that. So there's obviously when you start out, you still have to peel back layers to get all the way back there. So
Well, yes and no.
yes
Like,
and no, because I know you said you can fix people with certain things pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right?
So you can go back there. You can definitely go back there right away.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty good at being able to go back and work on things at a young age, right? We've all had like certain flashes of things that you'll remember when you were a kid or
Yeah.
certain things will remind you, right? So I'm pretty good at listening to that. So I don't
Is
have
a lot
to,
of it fear based when you're
Yeah.
a child? Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
It's either
yeah.
fear or love, right?
Right.
That's what you're dealing with here. So it's usually a fear based, but I'm pretty good at getting pretty far back, but I'll get one. If you can get to the root of it, all the rest of them go, right? It's
Yeah.
like killing the tree from a root. Once the
Right.
root's done, you don't need to worry about the rest of the tree. It's done.
Right.
But sometimes it can be a little bit difficult. So one, you go to get someone else to do it for you.
Right.
Right. Or you learn how to do it with yourself, which can sometimes take a little bit more time. But I mean, you don't have to pay. You got all the time in the world with yourself, right? So
Right.
you can do it in the morning, in the night, anytime. You don't have to
Right.
go anywhere, right?
Sure.
So it's a win-win either way. Yeah.
No shit, man.
Yeah.
So that's fucking that's phenomenal. Like it is mind blowing.
Yes.
So we talk about a lot of things with mental health on this show, and
Yep.
like anxiety, depression,
Yep.
suicidal thoughts, for instance.
Yep.
So when people come into you, and I'm sure you've experienced some of this,
For sure.
how like what is the root problem for a lot of this anxiety or for depression, and how do you deal with helping people, and how many sessions?
Usually it's not too many, right?
Yeah.
So anxiety is the number one thing I help people with. Right?
Really?
So that's, anxiety is at an all-time high, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely, I agree.
So I always tell people, if when somebody comes in to see me and they say, I have anxiety of, let's say, public speaking.
Yep.
Okay, let's use public speaking as an example because everyone can relate to that one, right?
Well, that's bigger fear than death for most people, right?
Yeah,
It's the number one fear.
So most people would rather be giving the eulogy, right? Would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'll give you an example. It's not always the same, okay?
Right.
But it's people come in with anxiety. Now, if I look at you and I say, don't worry about it, you're fine, you're going to do all right. Have I helped you?
Not at all.
No. In fact, you've made it worse because you're telling me I should be fine and I'm not fine. So now I'm freaking out even more.
You're giving me an expectation.
Right.
Yeah.
So what that person needs is to change how they feel. Okay, so in hypnosis, what hypnosis is a communication with the unconscious mind, the part of the mind where the emotions come, because you're not releasing those emotions on purpose, right? It just comes up. Like who in their right mind would create stress on purpose? So it's usually a protective function.
Yep.
So in many cases with public speaking, I bring people back to the root. Mm-hmm. We go back to childhood. Now, let's say you have brothers and sisters and parents are busy cooking dinner, and then you, being a little devil, get into trouble, right?
Yeah.
Then your parents will go, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So when the attention's on you, you're in trouble, right? And they repeat that every time your parents show, hey, what are you doing? Get out of there. Hey, what are you doing? You're in trouble, right? So you keep getting busted in trouble, so it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
So now when all the eyes are on you,
yeah,
there's the same response.
Right. Sorry,
so that's okay.
Someone's calling in. Anyway, all good. The iPads are all connected to my phone.
Oh yeah.
So okay, so continue, buddy. Sorry about that. I didn't realize that they could call in when I'm going live. But go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
We're talking about anxiety.
Yeah. So that's one of the roots, but there's many, right? So you never really know, and most people don't know because it's so buried back into the unconscious, right? So we don't really know. Most people don't really know what their root is, right?
Right.
So because if they did, well, they wouldn't be coming in, and I probably wouldn't have a job.
Right? Yeah. Sure.
So they don't really know, and that's what we're doing. We're going to go in and uncover it, right?
No
We're going to find the feeling and find where the root of that feeling is.
Right.
Once that's done, we work through it and release it and change it.
So when you're conditioned as a kid and your parents are saying, hey, what are you doing, or whatever, getting mad at you, so that's conditioning you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
without realizing it.
Right. Without even realizing it.
Yeah. So like for a minute, every time the attention's on me, it means I'm in trouble.
Right.
I'm in trouble. And you keep doing that, which happens a lot. Parents are just trying to, stop you from drinking poison under the sink or whatever.
Right. But they don't realize what they're doing. Yeah.
But they're like, bang, right? And that's kind of why this kind of therapy or these type of techniques, I think, should be taught in schools, right? Everybody should learn how to do this to help their children, to help their siblings, things like that. So, yeah.
No kidding, man. Well, that's phenomenal that you can. How many sessions usually?
It's pretty quick. Usually anywhere between 2 to 6 is the average for most.
2 to 6.
2 to 6 for me, yeah.
And then would you say that the anxiety just disappears forever, or do they have? Yeah, really.
Unless they have another protracted event. So what I mean by a protracted event is that we've all heard of somebody driving their car and everything's fine, right? And everything's good, and then they get in an accident and boom, they don't want to drive anymore. They're afraid, right? So I always tell people, how quick did that change? How long did it take for that change to take place? Seconds, right?
Absolutely.
Well, what makes you think you can't go from freaking out back to relaxed again?
Sure.
You can.
Sure.
So, but if something like that will happen, we'll create anxiety again.
Right.
But in those cases, in most of them, so long as we work together, we get to the root, it doesn't come back. Not for what you're coming in for.
Right. Yeah, fair enough. So, I mean, there could be other things that happen. Like if you remove anxiety from someone and there is a death in the family, they can still obviously go through depression or something like that and have to see you for a totally different...
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so...
Is depression a little bit harder to deal with than anxiety, or a bit about the same? I hate the word depression myself. Okay.
You know what I mean?
I don't like it either, but...
I know so many of my clients have come in and I'm like, oh, yeah, you're depressed? Who told you? Doctor. How long did you see him? I walked into a walk-in clinic.
Yeah.
Talked to you for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
You sure you weren't just sad? But I'm not downplaying true depression. I get that, right?
So, but we're allowed to have emotions as well, is kind of what you're saying. Yeah, it's not like every emotion. If you're feeling something...
Here, take a pill, right?
You're allowed to... Yeah, exactly.
That don't work, take another pill. Here, want to take another pill. Here, snort a pill. Just take come on, man. I've helped a lot of people with the depression, but remember, depression is a medical term, right? So I don't take it on like a medical doctor. I will usually let them, first of all, if they've been clinically depressed and, it's been diagnosed, I will usually send a release note to their doctors. And second of all, I'll say, I'm not going to treat your depression, just like I don't treat anxiety.
Right.
I'm not treating anything. I'm
Right.
helping people help themselves,
Right.
right? So, but I can tell them that, a lot of people that have come in to see me are no longer sad from the depression.
Right.
Right? And
Yeah.
they no longer, can I stop taking my medication? I can't tell you that, but many people find on their own accord,
Right.
they no longer have to.
I see. So you have to be careful how you word things.
Well, exactly, right? Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of, and I do my best to work with doctors and everything like that, right?
Right.
I'm not trying to steal their clients or steal anybody. I want to
Right.
work, whatever gets the person the help,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
So I will work within them to help them.
Yeah.
But, there are some other professions in the helping field that really don't like what we do because we do it very quick.
Right.
We don't
And
need, I don't want to see you for years. I don't need to. type
Right,
of thing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, whereas if you're going to see a psychiatrist, sometimes that can take 20 years. I mean, look at
You
Howard
said it,
Stern.
I didn't.
Yeah, right, fair enough.
Yeah, right.
Or even finding the right psychiatrist,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the right medication they put you on, it's a whole fucking mind game,
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah.
And nothing against that. There's some great psychiatrists
For
out
sure.
there, obviously, but
Yep.
I think I would rather have the quick fix and then, maintain that.
Well, the thing is it's not even that it's a quick fix. It's what I think is that we've been talking about our problems for years and years and years. Talking about it isn't doing a damn thing for me, right?
Right.
What you need to do is change how I feel, right? And that's just what separates hypnosis from many things. It allows us to communicate with the unconscious mind, the part of the mind where your habits are stored,
Right.
your beliefs about yourself and the world, and your emotions.
Right.
It allows us to have an impact on that so long as you want it.
Sure.
So that's just what creates it. Such a powerful change so fast.
Right, is just making sure that you attach it to an emotion.
It's changing the emotion.
Right.
Right. It allows me to communicate. Well, we've all heard that we use 10% of our mind power, right?
Yep.
That's the conscious mind. Hypnotists communicate to the unconscious mind, the computer.
Right.
90% of your other mind there, where all your habits, beliefs, and emotions are. Right. We have an
Right.
impact on that. So
Right.
that's how I can get somebody up on stage who's really shy to stand up without criticism and sing an opera.
That's awesome.
Or eat an apple or an onion thinking it's an apple.
Right.
You get the idea.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No, I've seen it happen. I obviously and I went on tour with Tony, and I've seen it's real. People say, "Oh, I don't know if I believe it." I've seen it happen. You've done it. I've seen you do it. I've seen multiple people do it.
Yep.
And these people are different than when you would meet them. Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely.
Right. Right.
I've seen enough of it to believe that it works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people. That's always the number one question people ask me. Does it really work?
You get the yeah.
And I'm like, no. I've just been ripping people off the last 10 years. Yeah, I've been doing therapy for 10 years and stuff. I must be doing something, or I'd be out of business by
Yeah,
now, right?
absolutely.
I mean, the results speak for themselves. So,
Right.
but I do understand that people will dismiss what they don't understand.
Yeah.
People fear what they don't understand. So
Yeah.
instead of looking into it and maybe doing a little bit of homework,
make
they're
a
just like, oh,
judgment.
that's garbage, oh,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't want to know about
Make
that.
the
right?
judgment,
Yeah,
right? It's
and
easier to make a judgment.
and I always say my job when I'm doing my comedy shows, my job is not to prove to you hypnosis works. My job is to entertain you, right? And when
yeah.
you come into my office, my job is to give you the result you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, like, who the fuck cares what I did? As long as you're not smoking anymore, problem
Right.
solved, right?
Sure,
That's
yeah.
all we really.
Yeah.
It's really So people can be quite amazed to realize that we go into hypnosis 7 times a day on a
Yeah.
daily basis. We're in and out of it all day long,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Coming to see a hypnotist, the only thing that's new is you're doing it on purpose.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
You've actually been in the state plenty of times.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And it's funny, people are like, oh, my mind is too strong to be hypnotized. I hear this one all the time. I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny, right? Because the only people who can't be hypnotized are people below normal intelligence. So
Really?
anybody of normal intelligence or higher can be hypnotized. It's actually the smarter you are, the better you do. So what are you trying to tell me, bud? And he's like, oh, okay, well, maybe I can. He changed his tune real quick, right?
Well, you've probably also you've come up across how many objections over these 10 years that you can just quickly.
Oh, I got them
put
all,
people-
right?
yeah, you can put people in their place pretty quick. I bet on anything.
Yeah, for sure. Because, like I said, I was one of those people, right? I was
Yeah.
skeptical, and I know it pretty inside out. So I know I've had to deal with every misconception that anybody can come up with. Because during hypnotherapy, when I do one-on-one, one of the most important things for me to do is alleviate those misconceptions. Because the only thing that will stop hypnosis from working is fear or resistance.
Right.
Now, I don't think somebody's going to resist because they've called me to pay me
Yeah.
money to come do it, but the resistance will come from fear.
Right.
They're like, what if I don't wake up? Or what if he finds out my deep, dark secrets? Or
Right.
things like that, So
Yeah.
I have to be ready to explain and neutralize all those misconceptions that people.
Right.
So, yeah.
And that must be tough. I mean, if people are coming to see you for the number one thing, which is anxiety, there's a lot of what if thinking going on in that mind that you have to kind of set settle down. Probably.
Well, people have anxiety about coming in to work on anxiety.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I'm used to it, right?
Yeah.
So there are different ways and different approaches, but whatever I'm doing is working, right? I've been able to. I think I understand what they're going through. I used to have anxiety as well.
Yeah.
And
Me as well.
it comes to a point where, a lot of referrals have gone. There's a lot of testimonials on my site that give people ease.
Mm-hmm.
And, it takes as long as it takes, right? So some people, 5-10 minute pre-talk, we're ready to go. Others a lot longer, but it takes as long as it takes until that person's ready.
No shit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, if somebody's panicking and fearing and also, an experienced hypnotherapist will also know that there's 3 different ways to hypnotize people. You saw my show, which was to snap them into it, like, shock them into it.
Yep.
You can confuse them, and the old way is bore them, right? So you can take a really long time putting them into hypnosis. And
That's like the. Do you ever watch Milton Erickson?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
so
what he does,
that
yeah.
very monotone. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, that Milton style, right? So,
Yeah.
but he was like on a whole level of his own. But but sometimes what you could do is bore them. So when people are really nervous, getting ready to get started, I will bore them. I will take as much time. Or what I find is, just first, before we start, if I see somebody really nervous, I'll just say, we're not even going to do hypnosis right now. I just want to see how well you follow instructions, right? So like, oh, we're not? Oh, okay. Then they relax into it. And then zip, zap, we're done. I'm like, you were hypnotized. It's done now, right? They're like, oh, good. Thank God I'm good at this, right?
That's
so
awesome.
you do what you got to do. But I mean, I do what I have to kind of help that person, excuse me, get rid of their fears, their misconceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing, dude. I love what you do. I'm always in awe of the hypnosis and watching people in that hypnotic state is always like, they'll do, okay, answer me this, because people are always afraid of doing something that they don't want to do. How do you, in your shows, do people ever say, well, I don't want you to do anything that I don't want to do? What do you say to that?
Well, again, I don't. Okay, so if there's anything against your core beliefs, right, or against your religion, or things like that, you're not going to do it. But you have to understand that when somebody's in hypnosis, your inhibitions have dropped.
Right.
Do you understand? It's kind of, so. I don't like to relate it to having a couple drinks and doing something stupid we don't care. Right. But you know what I mean? Everyone can get the idea of what that's like, right? So when your inhibitions have dropped, your filters have dropped, you don't really care what other people are thinking or saying, right? That's gone, right? Yeah. So you're just your true self. So you're not worried about what might or may not happen. But if there's anything that you think would embarrass you or that you would be against doing, there's a high probability you wouldn't do it. Right? So people that, like when I do that apple onion thing, people say, well, you should be careful. What if people are allergic? If somebody was allergic, they wouldn't take it. Really? Because the mind has to see the onion in order to make it disappear and turn into an apple. Right. You understand? So it knows, deep down it knows.
It knows that that's danger deep down.
It was. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
No kidding.
Yeah, it would know. So, but...
So this is where you talk about when you talk about the computer that you're working with. Yeah. The computer knows, even though you don't really, in your conscious mind, you don't see that as an onion. Yeah. Your computer's like, this is a fucking onion. Yep. And it's gonna kill me, so I'm not gonna eat it.
Exactly. If they had
an allergy to it.
Because that belief in their system would be there. They would have a deep-seated belief, a true belief that onions are bad for me. Right. Peanuts are no good. So if I give somebody a handful of peanuts and tell them something else, they would know. They wouldn't do it.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But, on the side note, it is acceptable selective thinking, right? So you can deliver suggestions in a certain way that can be a little bit more persuasive to have people do a little bit more than they may want to if you really, truly want to. But I don't need to go that far, right? That's where you're getting a little bit X-rated stuff. And that's stuff. I don't need that, right? Okay. I mean, most people are pretty... I said, I want to do it to create an interest in not only hypnosis, but... the power of hypnotherapy, which is a lot of people need, I think. Right. Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing. I didn't realize that that's kind of what your end goal was with that. Like, I thought, okay, well, he's doing a hypno show, but... And you do... Actually, I guess you did kind of let people know, like, I can do this, and if you want to come see me in the show. But it was still super entertaining, which was great, because obviously... You don't want it to come off as a business plug at the end of the day, right? You want to make sure that it's...
Well, I think I'm kind of selling it without selling it.
Yes,
I'm showing you. Yeah, I'm showing you, and people. I give the people I let their minds kind of imagine it, right? Right. So I do a skit. I don't think you saw it in my show where I'll give somebody a chocolate bar, and I say, the moment you take a bite of that chocolate bar, so I'll put them in trance. I'll say, in a moment, I'll count from 1 to 3. You want this chocolate bar. Yeah. You have to have the chocolate bar. Like, you'll do anything to get the chocolate bar, right? I said, but the moment that chocolate touches your mouth, all of the sugar in that chocolate bar tastes to sand, turns to sand. Yeah. So they eat it, and they just start spitting it out, right? Yeah. So I'm thinking, so people in the crowd can do their homework on their own and go, like, if this can happen, right? I wonder what he can make me do if I really wanted to stop, eating, I don't know, fast food, or if I could stop drinking Diet Coke, or stop chewing my nails.
Right.
Or, list
So
goes on
so
and
what
on.
is it that develops these bad habits? I mean, when you talk about fast food or biting your nails, how did we end up with those habits to begin with if we already knew they were bad for the most part?
Well, you logically know, but you don't know that when you're first raised, right?
Right.
So the unconscious mind will do whatever it needs to protect itself. And so sometimes, like we've all been programmed, like let's use food, right? Parents would say, if you don't finish your vegetables, you're not getting any dessert.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So to your unconscious mind, it takes everything literally. So it goes, if I do something I don't like, I'm going to get what I do like.
Right.
Then we get older, we get programmed more. If a woman breaks up with her boyfriend, what does she do? Tub of ice cream, right?
Right.
What's a birthday without a cake, right? So you're relating certain foods to make you feel better, right?
No shit.
So it's always salts or sweets. Like
Right.
I've never found in all the years I've been doing that somebody gets stressed out and eats broccoli, right? It doesn't happen.
And that starts from when we're a kid.
Yeah.
Because it's you're trying to give the reward for good behavior.
Exactly, right. So you're going to go out, like, what's a birthday party? We're going to have a birthday party at McDonald's and all that stuff, right? And then the same thing goes, and then you get into teenage years and you start drinking and smoking and you get addicted. It's not really the drug has some addictive things, tendencies to it, but what you're doing, it's the emotion that's addicting you.
No shit.
And that's what I address. I address the emotion. Once you get rid of the emotion driving the behavior, changing the habit is usually not too difficult. Like, I mean, bear in mind, like, if you're drinking, a 26er every single day, you're going to have some serious withdrawals.
Right.
But like smoking, for example, you get rid of the emotion, instantly it feels like you've never smoked.
Really?
There's no withdrawal, nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've had it done to me, and I've done it to thousands of smokers in the London area.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Same with...
Do any of them? Do you make it last for a lifetime? Too?
Yeah.
Like, can you ever lose that? Like, I know you're saying it needs to be another event. Like, what event would trigger someone to start smoking again?
Well, I mean, it's not to say that they won't. What I actually find is people will sometimes lose the fear of getting addicted again, and they'll just be out, and you may just have just a vulnerable emotion. Like maybe you'll be out with everybody, and like you had a couple drinks, and like you're like, I just decided just to have one, and then bang, I'm back, right? And that's usually what will happen, but. Because life is not flat. And honestly, the way I see it, I've come to the conclusion that, you either take care of your day-to-day emotions on purpose, or your unconscious mind will by default start dealing with them. Everybody's got a cup of emotion they can handle. Once it overflows, you got to start figuring, you need relief somewhere.
Right.
Biting your nails, eating, smoking, gambling, shopping, something. So if you're not, meditating or doing something just deliberately, exercising, meditating, doing something that you're deliberately helping relieve your emotions in a way that work, over time, your unconscious mind by default will protect you and do it some way or another.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
You have no choice. You have to kind of, I'm not saying you have to get to work or anything, but, and usually the ways that we've learned to deal with our emotions as teenagers and kids are not very productive, right?
Sure.
It's like
we were never taught how to deal with emotions
right?
properly.
So by the time we're old, we don't realize how to deal with it, and everything's being thrown at us. So it's like, yay, bud, give me a smoke.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What about influence? Like when you're going through that high school phase, and the cool kid offers you a cigarette.
Yep.
And like. So is that playing? What emotion was that playing on? It's playing like, okay, well, I could be cool, and if I smoke with this guy, then it's going to make me feel good. Or
well, usually that's strive with acceptance, right? So everybody between the ages of about 12 to about 20, everybody different within that time span, they go through a period in their life where mom and dad aren't quite as smart as they once were, right? So we're looking for acceptance other places, and we usually find it with our surroundings or our friends and stuff like that, and that's kind of where you get lured into a lot of that stuff. Acceptance, approval, right? And everybody has everybody has a built-in valve as well for certain approval, because growing up,
we needed that for survival.
How would you know you were doing right? By mom saying yes, and you knew you're doing it wrong, was saying no. But then as you get older, you're looking for other places, when in actuality you're looking at for source, right? Higher source is that approval, but that's usually a big part of it, right?
Interesting. And is that where it kind of links in with the spirituality again?
Again, yeah. Well, I think physical, mental, right, and spiritual, all three are needed. Yeah, all three are needed. I think. Like, I know. I'll tell you, I physical, I've been working out since I was in grade 10. I mean, I'm not like, power lifter or anything, but I've been working out, taking care of myself.
Yeah, sure.
The mental aspect, hypnotherapy, I've been on point. And I've been good, right? But it wasn't until I turned over to a little bit more of that spiritual aspect as well that really gave me that freedom. It was a missing link that I've been missing for a while that really was like, oh, wow.
So you're saying that some of that, finding that spirituality helped you kind of on the path of partying less and less, and having a clean, sober mind is kind of a better place to be.
Well, I told you, right? Like acceptance and approval seeking runs very deep in human beings. And, you know, when you sober up, what happens? You know, you like, I know you stay home a lot, or you're away from everybody, right?
Yeah, you isolate a little bit.
Yeah, you become isolated, and for me, that's not good. I don't like isolating too much. I don't mind spending time alone. I enjoy it, but
you can't be afraid of that.
Yeah,
right. You can't be afraid of being alone.
Oh no, I live alone, no problem. But you know, you definitely want to be out there a lot. And I found for me what was very difficult too is, you know, a lot of my human contact was being at work, right?
Right.
And so I'm therapeutically dealing with problems all day.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, man, I need a release somewhere.
Right.
And without aligning with source or anything like that, I found that it was challenging for me, right? So and my mind was trying to deal with the stress of other people, my own stress, and so I'd bounce back sometimes, right? So that's kind of where I found where it was just the physical and trying to do it on my own was a lot more difficult than it is when you're aligned with source.
When you're calling it source, I like that. So let's talk about first for a minute, when people are in that room all day with you and they're bringing up their problems.
Yep.
Does that, I mean, we talk about the subconscious mind, so those are going into you somewhere, right? Like, how do you not get affected by that?
Well, digging up a big can of worms here. So,
okay.
So, well, throughout the years, and the reason why is that, like a few of my relationships, like you're so detached, right? So when I first started doing this, you'd find out the root of people's problems, and I'm talking like serious issues, right?
Right.
And that would affect me. When you show up to work hungover, oh man, your guard's down, look out, right?
Yeah.
So, but now it's come to the point where because I know I'm going to be able to help you. So if somebody's sitting there and they're going through some serious emotion, there's a lot of crying going on, I'm just like,
yeah,
because I know I'm going to let it out and be able to help you, right?
Right.
But, it's it does affect me, I think, more before we start, because people will come in and, I want to know what's going on. I want to get some information, but I think people mistake me for a psychiatrist, right? They want to come in and just dump everything right then and there. Oh my God. And they're just like, time out.
Right.
So that plays a little bit of a role.
Right.
But believe you me, I had to learn real quick how to disassociate myself from it, right? To be there, to understand, but not feel, because I wasn't going to last very long, right? What good am I if I'm curled up on the chair beside you?
So when you said can of worms in relationships, does that mean you dissociate yourself from women that you date sometimes?
Well, what happens is that I've worked very hard to get to a certain point, so a lot of things don't really bother me that much anymore, right? Like I'm just kind of like
it's small stuff.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like I'm above it or anything. Right. It's just I've just been so used to working with problems and being able to step back and look at it from a bird's eye view that it kind of it seems small and minuscule. For them, it's different.
Big, right?
Different.
Yeah.
They're like, "Where are you?" Right? Yeah. I'm right here. If you're upset and I'm not, it's just because I learned very quickly that if you are upset, whether it's somebody I know personally or a client, and I'm not upset, it doesn't mean I don't care. Right. But for a lot of people, they're like, if you're not crying with me, that means you don't care, right? And I'm like, no, but
they think you need to mirror what they're doing to be empathetic.
Yeah. And I'm not, right? Like I'm there, I care, but I'm just, I'm
sure.
cool.
Yeah. So, are you ever tempted? I don't know what kind of arguments you've gotten into in relationships, but
they're there.
Of course they are. Of course
I'm human,
they are.
Man.
Yeah, but when you do get into those, and the problem, you see a problem with your partner, let's say, because you're probably pretty quick at pinpointing problems at people, right? Dealing with them. Yeah. Are you tempted to just sit her down and get rid of it?
Well, like yes and no. It's not always. I don't even need to do that. Right. It does not have to. You don't have to. I can have your eyes open and hypnotize you. I don't need to actually put you in that trance to do it. Right. But I don't.
So it's still influence, kind of.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. It's still, you still persuade, and language patterns can still have a strong effect in the way you feel and change. But I do my best not to do that. Right. I'm really learning now to to see you as perfectly imperfect.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah,
I don't have to change the whole world
Sure.
because it's, I mean, you know, because if I see that you have a problem, I think the problem is with me, right? It's
Right.
how I see you. My
Absolutely.
projection on you is the problem.
Yeah.
So if I see that, I need to run and
Yeah.
do my own meditation on
Yeah,
it, not
I
try and
agree.
fix you.
I agree.
Do you know what I
When you
mean?
see something that's bugging you about someone else, like, why is that fucking bugging me?
Yeah,
Right?
all
Like,
it
what do I
is
have to
showing
work
you who I am, my
Yeah.
projection. So
Right.
I try to kind of maybe write it down and work on it later.
All right, so you're in a relationship. I mean, let's talk about all your relationships. Have you ever just been like, the argument's going on and on? Have you ever just been like, bing, bing, bang, shut the fuck up, and she put her to sleep, or what?
No. But mind you, I sometimes, you know, it's like, you know, you can, right? But I don't do that one bit.
Never once used it.
No, I have. Like, Dave asked me if we've worked through stuff
But
together.
it's been consensual.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I've never, you know, like snapped you into trance and you don't even know what's going on.
No, eh?
No, I remember.
You've never been like, oh, I could really use a blowjob.
You know, that's funny. I remember a while ago, me and one of my ex-girlfriends, we went to the movies, and her brothers were making fun of her. So you went to the movies with the hypnotist. So like, they're like, how was the movie? You come back, and she's like, I don't remember. My hair's messed up. My jaw hurts. Right? Well, I
Shirts
never.
on backwards.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah.
I don't know. What movie did you watch? I don't know. My jaw hurts.
Yeah.
No, I've never done that. No.
Well, good for you. I'm glad to hear that. I know you wouldn't, or I would have brought it up, obviously.
Yeah. I'm ethical.
You are,
Yeah.
and I know you are. Have you? So you have hypnotized? Like, have you ever heard shit come up from the girl that you're hypnotizing, that you're in the relationship with, that you're like, whoa, like that's more than I can handle, or?
No, because I think like I've worked with the deepest of issues, and I know that the majority of the people's issues that have happened, you know, at a younger age, we're not doing it on purpose, right? It's circumstances of how we portrayed it or perceived it, and the things that have happened from family members and other things like that. So it's fairly usually. Remember that what stresses a child out is usually pretty innocent, right?
Right.
So, and again, I don't ever attack the surface stuff, right? So the thing that happened to you last week, unless it's like a major thing, I don't need it, right? Because I know there's a root to it, and I know everything's there. And remember, watching mom and dad drive away to work, you know, as a 4-year-old child, that's stressful.
Sure.
That's nothing. As an adult, that's nothing.
Right.
But so most of those things, it's
Those are the people you depend on for survival. That's
what
your
I mean.
lifeline.
But
Yeah.
like, that's what stresses a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old out.
Right.
They're not stressed out because they're not making enough money, or they're not stressed out because their spouse is cheating on them. You know what I mean? It's all childhood stuff. So So it's usually not anything super serious.
Right. It's more survival based.
Yep. Fear and, you know, love or abandonment, things like that.
Right.
Right.
So-
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of molestation and things like that go down as well, but you know,
do people bury that? Like, you hear about a lot of times, obviously, when it comes to sexual abuse, people don't come forward for 20 years or something like that.
Yeah, you would be surprised how the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind, the sole purpose is survival, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody's been molested, let's say, what will happen is the subconscious mind will keep you overweight, because if it believes that being overweight is unattractive, and being unattractive means that won't happen to me again.
I see.
It doesn't matter what you do; they'll keep that weight on.
Right.
So sometimes that has to be addressed in order for the weight to get let go.
Right.
You understand? So yeah, you all the time.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
So that, how do you handle it when something like that? Obviously, you're going to hear that, right? You're going to hear when you get to the root of the problem, when someone says, "Okay, this is a molestation issue."
Yeah.
How do you get rid of that?
Well, yeah. So some of the techniques that I use, so I uncover it.
Yeah.
Right. So once I uncover it, I'm just like, thanks, see you later. Right.
Right. Yeah.
I have to deal with that kind of stuff. So this is where advanced hypnotherapy training comes into play.
Right.
So we start using some very advanced forgiveness therapies, and then being able to.
Is a lot of it shame? They feel shame still?
Yeah. Well, they
themselves,
blame. They're angry at the person who did it.
Right.
They're angry how it fucked their life up, and
Right.
they're angry because their relationships haven't worked, and
Right.
then they're angry at themselves, right?
Right.
So there's a whole bunch of different aspects that need to be addressed, right?
Right.
Forgiveness of that person, and remember, people, forgiveness. It doesn't mean that you forget what was done to you, or
Right.
it doesn't mean that you condone what the person did. You don't even like the fucking person. You don't have to like the person to forgive them.
Right.
But it allows them to let go of that anger and that guilt and that regret and that shame, so that they can let go of the weight or move on with their lives, right?
How do you say to someone, like, I'm just thinking about that, because how do you say, okay, I don't like you, but I forgive you. How do you kind of?
I tell them exactly what I just told you.
Really?
And the unconscious takes everything literally, right? So it's the emotional mind.
Right.
So, when they're in hypnosis, I can have them picture that person and they're hallucinating, right? So the one rule of the mind that we know is that the unconscious does not know the difference between real or imagined.
Right.
You understand? So
Yeah.
if I wake up from a dream, somebody chasing me, my heart will be pounding, I'll be
Sure.
sweating.
Yeah,
It'll have the same
absolutely.
effect on my body.
Right.
So when I have them in the deepest state of hypnosis, I can have them hallucinate, just like the apple into the
Right.
onion, right? They're
Right.
hallucinating.
Yeah.
So we're experiencing them forgiving in that process,
Yeah.
so that they get the emotional release.
Interesting.
It's
man.
pretty crazy, man.
That is.
It gets pretty crazy.
When you first started doing hypnotherapy and stuff like that came up, did you ever be like, were you ever like, oh fuck, like,
Oh yeah,
deer in headlights kind of?
Oh
like, what
sure,
now?
yeah. Especially like I told you, like if you come over. If you're coming to work and you're tired, or maybe I learned really quickly, do not show up to work
hungover
in any way, because my guard is down. When that happens, I'm feeling that, right? I'm there. So
is there anything else besides being hungover that makes your guard weak?
I think that's probably the main one for me.
Yeah.
I mean, other that, or if you hit, like if you're going to find an emotion or something somebody has, and you're like, oh, I have that.
Yeah.
You'll fucking know it, right? You're like, ooh, I got to work on that too, because you're going to feel it too. So I'll
Right.
usually write that down and make sure I take care of it right then and there. But it also helps me.
shit.
While I'm helping them, it's helping me too, right?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of, if I have that same kind of, I've been through that or something, I'm kind of healing as
So if it triggers you, basically.
Yeah. But I would say the main thing is if you're hungover tired, like it's not a good thing.
Would you say you're just more vulnerable to what's coming at you and all the stuff that's being dumped at you?
Yeah, I just find that you're just not clear-minded, and your guard that kind of blocks your emotions, your ability to separate yourself is kind of, I don't know, it's
like
wounded,
blurred,
it's
it's
down,
foggy.
it's wounded, or
Yeah.
it's just not there, right? So
Right.
things are negative emotions from other people are getting in easier.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah.
This is such interesting shit. I'm so
Yeah.
fucking interested in this. And I've
Right.
seen it nonstop, right? Like
Yeah.
I've seen it obviously since the fall. I've been watching Hypnosis with Tony the
Yep.
whole fucking tour.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean I'm every time I'm still fucking amazed
Yeah.
every time there's some sleep. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
It probably falls right down.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your spiritual tank, we'll call it, right?
Yep.
So you said that sort of you're focused on mental and that you use hypnosis to kind of improve yourself mentally and
For
you
sure.
use the gym for physically.
Yep.
What was the more recent spiritual, is it a practice that you found or how
Yeah,
did you,
well-
where's the connection?
Well, I've always considered myself spiritual, and I've because in my office I ask people, you believe in God? Are you spiritual?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But what are you doing about it?
Right.
'Cause everyone's like, oh yeah, I believe there's in something.
Right.
But nobody really does anything about it. They just say, yeah, I believe there's something else.
Well,
But
what are they supposed to do?
well, I'm not just saying that they're supposed to, right? Because
Right,
that's
right.
what I was doing, right?
Right,
I was like,
yeah.
oh yeah, I believe in something. But it worked out that this recent girl that I've just recently broke up, we're still good friends.
Yep. You always are. You
yeah.
always are with the exes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Did you just have an emotion?
right,
I gotta work on that. Okay.
So anyway, she brought me to a church that I've gone to, and there's a new age Christianity in church, and again, I'm always open to all of them. I studied
sure.
Buddhism.
Yeah.
I was starting to read the Quran and all these
Yeah.
different things, right?
Yeah.
I think there's something there.
Yeah.
I try not to follow organized religion too much
Right.
myself.
Yeah.
Like I said, as a child, I was told that I had to live up to these commandments
Sure.
and this and that, and game over from the get-go. Everybody's broken them, so
Yeah,
everyone feels
yeah.
guilty, right?
Yeah, sure.
But
That's true.
I started to really kind of read up on some books and stuff like that, and realize that I wouldn't say that I'm religious, but I've recently just opened up to a relationship with higher source,
Right.
God, whatever you want to call it, right?
Right. The
And
universe. I personally just use the universe.
universe,
It's-
universe, God, source, whatever. And I've recently had a peace come in that I've never had before, right? That's really given me, Mara told you that approval, that acceptance, it's built into all of us for a reason, and you're never going to get it from other people,
Right.
What you need to get is from there, and once you got that, it doesn't fucking matter what Tom, Dick, or Harry think of me.
Right.
I don't care what you say or don't say. I don't care if you like me or don't like me,
Right.
because I'm okay, right? I have the
Yeah.
acceptance that I need.
So you still think that there's something that needs to come from outside of you, though? You can't get it all from...
It's internal.
It's internal.
Oh, for
Okay,
sure. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. You just got to open up to it, and it comes in. Yeah, it's internal.
Right,
It's
sure.
totally
so,
internal.
So it's
yeah,
just,
yeah.
it's just being open enough
Yeah,
to
allow it
receive.
in. To allow it in. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Awesome.
And if I look back, I can honestly say, it's been there the whole time.
Right.
I've just haven't been open to it.
You've ignored it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And then because I've ignored it, I've had to self-medicate.
Yeah, me too.
Right? And other places.
Why do you think that is, that we're so fucking ignorant to, wanting to just connect with? Like, why do we not let ourselves
because
connect with?
I know I think it's kind of boring. And still, like, I can tell you, if I have children, like, he's gonna fucking know it right off the hop how to do it.
Yeah.
But the thing is it's religion and all that shit. I think they're just going the wrong way about it. It's very fear based, and it's
Right.
just that's kind of what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like they're saying you have to do and you have to act, and
Yeah.
if you don't do these things, you're not getting in.
Right.
And so no wonder people are running so far away from
Yeah.
it, and people need it more and more now,
Yeah.
more than ever. I think.
Would you? I agree that everyone needs something spiritual.
Yeah.
Because the way that this world is going right now is fucked up.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, anxiety is running rampant. People are living in their cell phones, looking for that external validation through social media constantly.
Yeah, well, cell phones are the new cigarettes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was doing some research on that. Actually, every time that you get like a text message or basically contact, there's a little hit of dopamine that goes off in your brain.
Yeah,
That's fucking wild.
And all these like prescription pills and everything that are going on that are never really addressing the issue. They're just masking it, right? So everybody's just fucking blasted on all because
They
big
feel
pharma.
like something's missing,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah,
mean, and they don't
yeah.
know what it is. They don't
Yeah.
have the answer.
So they're striving for something that's like a hamster on the wheel, man.
Yeah.
Just constantly running and running and spinning and spinning.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you about something that you said in the show because it really stuck with me.
Okay.
When you were hypnotizing people, there's a few times where you said, we are not motivated by money.
Yeah.
So, like, what about these people that are out there chasing money and trying to get richer and richer and richer? What's that?
Well, I mean, money can be a short-term motivator, right?
Gratification.
But it won't. It's not fulfilling. Do you
Right.
understand? So
Yeah.
I remember a client of mine came into my office years ago, and he said he was in his 70s, and he said, "I thought when I'd made my first $1 million, I'd be happy."
Right.
And I wasn't, so I kept going, and I made
Right.
$5 million, right?
Right.
And then
Yeah.
I wasn't. I made $10 million, and it's
Yeah.
like now I don't even know who my friends are, and and he's just a lonely old man. So that kind of struck with me a little bit. But
Yeah.
I know that I'm not that money's bad. It's good.
Sure.
Money is good.
And you can help people with it.
For sure.
Yeah, as long
And-
as you're using it for the right purpose.
And I think everybody can and should and have the belief to be abundant with money. Everybody should be rich, and,
Right.
and there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
But to know that it's not the only thing to go after. And I
Right.
think in our society, we believe that my importance of who I am, my stature, is how much money I make.
Sure.
Do you understand?
Yeah. Or what I'm
the things
dressed in, what
the
I'm
things
driving.
I possess and all that. And people
Right.
run after that.
Yeah.
And like I did that for years too.
Same with me, man.
I
I
would
used to
buy
be very-
something and I'd have it for a couple of weeks and I'd want to buy something else. I'm like, what's
Yeah.
going on? And I just kept running and running.
Yeah.
And commercials and all that stuff just kept making me want to buy more stuff that I didn't fucking need.
Right.
I just kept buying and buying, and I was like, man,
Yeah, what the fuck am I doing?
Why I have money, man,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm not fucking happy, right?
Yeah.
So I realize if it affects me to that extent, it's going to affect a lot of other people.
Sure,
Right. And I
sure.
think a lot of people come that same way, right? And they feel like, and I remember being at a spiritual retreat,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember meeting two people that said that they were homeless for a year. Okay, they lived in California, so
Yeah.
it's not so bad.
Yeah,
but-
it's not. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
you're
winters
all
are-
right in California,
Yeah.
but they told me that because there was no expectation, they were in the present, they just did what they wanted. It was the best year of their life.
Really?
Two of them, they didn't know each other. I met two of them, and they told me the same fucking thing.
Really?
Yeah, they said I was on the streets and I had nothing to do, nobody to answer to. I mean, in California, Marin, you're not in the winter. Like, I'm sure
Right.
being homeless here, in
It's a
Canada,
little more of a
it's
struggle.
Yeah, in the winter,
Yeah.
right? But you could see that there was no possessions, didn't need anything, and we've all heard the spiritual saying, if you want everything, give everything up, and that's
Right.
kind of what that says to me, right? To
Right.
somebody.
Yeah.
But again, in no way, shape, or form am I saying money's bad. I think
Right.
everyone should have money and abundant and
Sure.
have fun, and the earth's our playground. Have
Yeah.
fun, right? For sure.
Yeah. But I can understand that. I mean, it's just like chasing after that when you're a kid. It's you want to get that Lamborghini or that Ferrari.
For sure.
And then now that I know people with Lamborghinis and Ferraris,
We all know, right?
yeah, absolutely. But you go to dinner with them, and they are constantly staring at their car, seeing if anybody's near it, if
Yeah,
anybody's
yeah,
taking
yeah.
a picture, and they're running outside, and like that's an additional stress in your life.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. More money,
Yeah.
more problems too, for sure. So that's why, again, it's important that if all you have, if your goal is, if you're just money driven solely,
Yeah.
then it becomes like that. I find I've helped a lot of people with that. But if you're at peace with yourself and you're all right with it, like,
Yeah.
and your possessions don't own you,
Right.
then you're okay, right?
Sure.
Like, my
Yeah.
bike gets stolen, okay, he needed it more than I did. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all right. I can buy another one. It's not the end of the world. While,
Yeah.
you know, you could be just like, oh, I'm going to find him and kill him. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right. The one thing that I thought was really cool, I mean, I did a lot of reading over, like, you obviously picked your spiritual path. I did a lot of reading and studying on Buddhism.
Yep.
And they kind of go in depth and dig deep, right? They dig deep and say, okay, well, do you ever really own anything? Like, nothing is ever permanent.
That's
it's
true.
either going to wear out or you're going to die and it's going to move on to someone else.
Well, yeah, we're not taking any of it with us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So it's one of those things where enjoy it while it's here.
Yep.
But don't attach to it, and when it's gone, be like, okay, well, that's not supposed to be a part of my life anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
And be able to, like, you're very capable of detaching with things.
Yeah.
So why do you think? Let's get into some relationships with you now, because I'm curious. Because every time I see you, it's like, oh, I just broke up with it. I just got out of, we're still friends, but I'm out of a relationship. Why do you think that you're still single? Because
Well, I'll be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
I think, unless I'm internally happy, it's gonna be difficult for anybody to be happy with me, because
Right.
I'm like, if I'm upset, you know it.
Right.
If I'm happy, you know it.
Right.
And as I told you, physically good, mentally good,
spiritually good.
spiritually good.
Yeah.
I think the next woman I date will probably be the one I marry,
Really?
or at least it's gonna be close.
Do you
It's kind of-
think? So do you think when you
I
say
feel I
spiritual-
feel more at peace than I ever have in my life now, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'm plus, like, back in the day, like, I was fucking partying, and we were out DJing and doing all this stuff. Like, had I married somebody then, like, what a disaster.
Oh my God, man. I know. I think back on that, dude. Like, today, it's so funny because today and obviously I've gotten up early, being sober, you get up sort of earlier in the mornings and you feel good about it. But today, for some reason, and maybe it was because I knew you were coming too, and we'd have so many of those mornings where we've had the birds chirping and the sun coming up.
Yeah.
This morning, I was just thinking, I thought, the sun's coming up right now. The birds are my friend. I don't feel bad at all. This is such a better way to live than the way that I used to live.
Yeah, you love waking up in the mornings, right?
Yeah.
Instead of like, uh-oh, here it comes.
Yeah. Draw the blinds. Like, I used to live in like a black fucking room. It was like, cover all the windows, make sure I can lay in bed all day with the sun shining. Right?
Yeah.
What a waste.
I got you.
What a waste.
I know.
So do you think that the next woman that you're with, you kind of, tapped your finger on spiritual. Do you think you're going to meet her in a spiritual setting? Like,
I'm open to it. And again, I'm not going to put that pressure on me, like the next one has to be, right? I'm just saying that, I feel like I'm at peace and I'm ready for something like that, right? Well, and I'm glad I did, because, I'm glad that you had to find it, and everyone's going to find their stuff. And it's not to say that I couldn't have done it before, but I mean, let's get into another, pile of worms, or is a fucking
opening a can of worms.
Can of worms. Sorry, is that most of the people I know that got married are all divorced now, right? They're on marriage 2 or 3. So
I know.
You know what I mean?
You never think that's going to happen to us, right? It's like,
So I have no doubt, like, who I was when I was 25 to who I was when I'm 30 to who I am right now is not at all. But I think, obviously you're going to evolve with your partner, but it was just such a roller coaster for where I was and what I was doing that, I think, you need to have a sense of peace.
Yeah.
So I think, having worked on myself in all aspects, I think, again, I'm not saying I'm perfect, or my spiritual quest isn't over. I'm going to continue learning and improving and having fun.
Well, that's a
but
journey.
I think I'm more at peace, right?
Yeah,
I have that peace where, I don't need to self-medicate or do any of that stuff, or I'm at peace.
Or escape.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Self-medicate,
escape. Yeah, sure. I guess it's the same
thing,
idea,
right? Just numb that whatever I'm missing.
Yeah.
Right? It's not there, and I'm at peace.
Yeah.
So,
I feel the same way that you do. I feel like the next one is going to be the one, but at the same time,
without pressure, right?
Maybe
the next one or 2 or 3,
sure,
whatever one,
sure.
but it's coming, right?
But it becomes harder to open yourself up to, like, especially being sober, right? It's like, okay, well, now you're going back to when you first started dating in high school, because I think I had, for the first time, I had sex sober. Since I was like fucking 16, I think. And I don't even think the first time I had sex, I know I wasn't sober. I was fucking wasted, right? Like, I was kind of conditioned at that point in time to be drunk every time I had sex, for the most part, right? And now this is kind of, obviously, when you have a girlfriend and you date, you have sober sex after a while, but usually that first couple times, there's some fucking alcohol involved.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
So now it's like, I'm sober and I go on sober dates, and you kind of, you look at this person, and it's you pick out where, like, okay, well, this is kind of something I might not be able to put up with, or this is something I might not be able. I find it's harder.
Yeah.
Because before, it's probably better for me long term. It'll probably be better for you. But when you're drinking and you're partying, you're willing to accept more flaws right off the hop just to get laid, really.
Yeah, that's true. But mind you, you probably wouldn't have wasted so much time in relationships you shouldn't have fucking been in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Because you're self-medicating. You know there's a red flag, but, well, I'll take a drink and it doesn't bother me so much, right? You're just... So, yeah, I mean, it is a give and take, right?
Yeah.
But I think, you know, if you really take the time to find peace within yourself, you know...
You don't need that shit.
No one's going to be perfect either, right?
Yeah.
You can't have that. And I think you're better able to focus on what's good about the person, right? Because, you know, I work with help with people in relationships. You know, when you first meet them, everything about them that you like is so good. And all those red flags aren't there.
No.
With a couple months in, 6 months in, a year, all those things you loved about that person have become par. They're at par. But all the people that bothers you, so you went from, you know, loving everything about them and not worrying about what was bad about them to expecting everything that's good about them as being normal, and now you just point out all their flaws. Well, because when you're drunk or you're under the influence of things, you can't control those thoughts, right? They come in and you can't control them. While when you're sober, you can really focus your mind a little bit more on I don't want to use positive thinking, but you can really focus on what's good about that person more so than what's negative, and or at least it balances out. I'm not saying the person's going to be perfect, but you know, you're not just so focused on the other girl in the club, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
You can at least respect what's good about the person.
I appreciate that. I think that's absolutely. I totally get what you're saying, because there's times when I can go back right now and pinpoint in my relationships in the past when they'd say something that would piss me off when I've been drunk. They could have said 10 good things, and then that one thing would stick with me for the rest of the night. I'd be like, well, you fucking, you know.
Slam out, and then you're off to checking out all the other girls out, right?
Yeah.
And that's we're in a generation of instant everything, right?
I wanted to ask you about that. So with everything going on right now, it seems like, and I've had a lot of people in the age group of early 20s, the millennial kind of generation, right? I mean, I guess we're kind of still millennials, but we're at the end of it, right? We're kind of borderline.
Yeah, I'm not quite a millennial. I think millennial, they say, is what, 84, 83?
83, I think
83
it's my year.
on. I'm 79, buddy.
Right.
So
yeah, okay.
I'm not a millennial.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway.
So you are, what are you then?
I don't know, maybe Generation X?
I think there's a gap between Generation X and something else, but anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I haven't
know,
looked
whatever.
It's clearly not that important to me.
yeah, obviously not.
I'm a 70s baby.
Okay, so talking to some of the younger generation, we'll just call it, in their early 20s, they said that it's more of a hookup culture, and it's almost like everyone is more available. Yeah. Obviously, technology helps with that, because you can fucking swipe and, you know, your next fuck is right there.
And all that garbage,
But is this something that is this something that's been conditioned to these people, or is this something that's just kind of come along, and because it's a satisfaction of I want to have it all, they keep going through for more and more and more, and it's a number of partners rather than the actual connection itself with one person? What do you think that is, and how do you fix that?
Well, you know, like, again, so first of all, you know, most people right now, we're a society, we're popping pills all the time, right, to deal with their stuff. So no one's actually dealing with their problems. So, and it's always a distraction. Next information very quickly. So the moment something's not going right, we'll just jump to the next person, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens
in the future.
Yeah, with these people. I don't know.
These are compounding things, right? Like, they're going to stack up on you.
I mean, everything's so quick. Like, most people can't concentrate for more than 2-3 minutes, and they're gone, right? Like,
I think it's less than that now.
On your website, unless you have a video right away or something, if as soon as you see writing, gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gone. So I don't. And remember, like, these are becoming habits for people. So
addictive habits.
Yeah. So the moment you don't give me what I want, gone.
Yeah.
Right on to the next person. So, with the option of divorce so quickly, like, I would be surprised, if most people even make it to the marriage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because, I remember one of my girlfriends saying, but like, she was selling houses where people would build houses.
Right.
And the couples would come in and pick all their things out to build the houses. And before the house was built, they were ready to split up.
Oh, God.
So
I don't think I've ever had that. But
they're that bad because it's stressful. But now, I mean, right now, instant everything. So, I don't know. I mean, I can help people with concentration, but, it's difficult because we want instant everything, right?
Yeah.
We want our food fast. We want our internet fast. Like, you give a millennial dial-up and they're going to destroy the computer.
That's true.
They would lose it, right?
That's
It'd
true.
almost be a good experiment to see. Just put dial-up on a bunch of computers and see what happens.
Right.
Like, they would just go bananas because they want everything right away. So
They get anxiety from
yeah,
that.
yeah. And so when the relationship's not working right away, or you're not giving what I want, we're
Yeah.
not fixing it. Who knows, right?
Wow. So there is definitely, obviously, I mean, I think everybody can say there's a lack of patience going on.
Well, that's one way to put it.
That's one way to put it. Yeah,
okay, lightly. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But the instant gratification thing is causing a lot. You're right. Like, we don't know what's going to happen because we've never seen this before.
Yeah.
Technology. The thing is, technology is increasing now exponentially, whereas we're still dealing with a primitive thing up here, right?
Yeah.
So we can't keep up with it anymore. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. It's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, and it's just getting more and more, right? And I mean, I guess we just kind of buckle up, grab some popcorn, and see what happens.
See, right?
See what happens, yeah.
But I mean, for you and I, like, I remember dial-up. I remember having to use a flip phone before text messages even existed.
Yeah, or
a cell phone was new.
Yeah, yep.
So I'm grateful that I got to go through that period because I can still kind of recall what it was like and be grateful for what we have, but also know that, hey, it's time to put the phone down.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have that, like, in my office when I work with teenagers a lot. And
do you?
Yeah. Young kids, teenagers all the time, right?
Really?
And I make them shut their phone off, and the sheer panic that you see in their eyes, right? Like, I'm like,
what the fuck do you have going on that's so important? Yeah.
I said, don't worry. The text messages still come through.
Yeah.
You're just going to lay down for an hour or half an hour, right? You won't
Yeah.
even know. And, there was a few that just would not do it.
No kidding.
I told them, thanks for coming in. I won't work with it. And then, okay, I'll do it. But, there was definitely a lot of panic and anxiety going on based around shutting their phone off, right?
Wow. That constant needing to be connected.
Yep.
Do you think we're too connected now?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I mean, I find myself, trying more and more now
to put it down.
Like, this is my work phone, right? So
Yeah.
but usually evenings and stuff, like, I try to leave it in my car when I go for dinner, or when I'm out with friends or something. I'll try to leave it in my car. It's not that important, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can check it every hour or so, and if there's an emergency. But really, at the end of the day, I like to put it down.
What are you gonna do? Let me ask you this, because I know that this is gonna irk you.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do if the next date that you go on, in the middle of your meal, you're in a conversation, she pulls out her phone and looks at it? Are you out the door? What are you gonna do? I want to know this because you'll say something smart ass probably.
Well, no. It depends. I might text her. It's over.
Hey, I'm over here.
No, I don't know. It depends. I mean, because I'm not one to judge right away.
Right.
How do I know it's not her mother calling her? There's an emergency or something like that. But I would probably call her out on it if half the time she was doing it.
Right.
I mean, come on now, right? I mean, no, that's not really gonna fly. But I mean, I've been guilty of doing it during a dinner or two.
Has
right?
it been an emergency?
No. No, I've done it. But again, I read the good article that my good friend, my ex, showed me, like, cell phones are the new cigarettes, and it's true.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to, to be conscious about putting it down while I'm out with friends and being present, right? Instead of constantly on it or just leaving it in my car. Like, it's just, because I find it's affecting me too. It's everybody. Everybody's got phones. Everybody's checking it all the time. And it's just like half the time you're just home alone checking Facebook. Like, get out of here.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Like, it's
I know.
So
I know, buddy. And I love that. That's the thing is, right now I'm so intrigued with social media that I'm trying to do the best to get positive messages out there and to be as real and as raw and as fucking uncensored as possible.
Yep.
But there comes a time when it's like, okay, am I on here too much? Am I posting too much? Like, what's good for my, ideal health?
Yeah.
So it's an experiment. It's an experimental time, and it's great that we can reach God knows how many people, or the source knows how many people, right? But the reach is incredible. You can meet people, like, someone could be watching or listening to our conversation across the world that we've never met before, and they could be affected by it, right, in a positive way.
Yeah,
hopefully.
absolutely. Yep.
So that is cool to me. I like that.
Yep.
But the fact that, like, I'm enjoying this conversation with you, I'm present with you.
Yep.
And I hope that while we're talking, someone's not watching us on their phone, sitting across from, like, someone they should be paying attention to. That's not the purpose here, but I guarantee you it's probably happening.
Yeah, put the phone down and drive, right?
Yeah. Yeah, listen. That's fine. Listen to it on iTunes, whatever. But,
at least don't watch it, right?
Yeah, man.
Yep.
So we've been going for a while now, I guess. Eh?
Cool.
about 10 o'clock. Did you want to wrap it up? What are your, like, if you could say one thing, I mean, it's Motivational Monday. We've talked a little bit about mental health. If you could say one thing to kind of, that's gotten you through besides hypnosis, what has it been? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you driven? And what keeps you, trying to reach your goals day after day?
Well, again, I find that one of the things I've really come around with is I've stopped putting so much pressure on myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because, I've come to realize some of that programming that's been instilled in me, that I need to own all this, or I need to strive to do this, and to keep, and at the end of the day is that, maybe there are some things that I want to accomplish,
Right.
but I'm fucking fine the way I am, and I'm good right now.
Yeah.
It's good. Like, I'm all right, and I can just be happy from here and
Right.
enjoy my life from here and be free from here.
Right.
And in that case, doing that and looking at it that way, it releases so much of the burden and the stress and the have to. And when you let go of that, you find that you come in contact with the I want to.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Not feeling like I have to, but I want to.
Right.
And that becomes a lot more fun.
Because it's a passion.
Yeah, I want to do this
It's a
stuff.
desire, yeah.
I enjoy doing this stuff. It's something I want to do instead of like, I have to. And, just
Right.
changing that frame of mind that I have to do this,
Right.
or I should to, I want to,
Right.
keeps you more motivated, right?
So,
Keeps you freer.
So you do put emphasis on changing the way that you talk to yourself and the way that you view things.
Big time. Self-talk is huge, man.
Yeah.
Self-talk is also instilled from, like, if you listen to that critical voice that you have inside your head,
Yeah.
who does it remind you of, right?
Yeah, parents.
Usually you'll be able to find parents
Yeah.
or teachers
Yeah.
or something. And
Some
so,
authority figure,
Yeah.
or who is supposed to be an authority.
Yeah,
figure,
exactly.
right?
So, and then so really becoming conscious of that broken record voice happening in the background and becoming aware of it, and and being able to, change how you communicate even with yourself is huge,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You're the one you wake up with, and you're the one you're going to sleep with, so you should be fucking kind to yourself.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
So show yourself some compassion.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
What do you say? Do you ever compare yourself to others? Just before we go, like, or did you stop comparing yourself to others? Because I think there's a lot of that happening right now with Instagram and everything.
Yeah, I don't have Instagram, so
Right,
that's
yeah.
right. But I think everybody kind of does to a certain extent, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, if you can just really compare yourself to who you were yesterday and trying to be better than you were yesterday, that's
Perfect.
good.
Yeah.
But we live in a society where that's kind of materialistic. Things are everywhere.
Yeah.
So I mean, I probably
It's a
do.
consumer-driven world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you probably do to an extent, but I mean, again, you just keep working on scrambling that and,
Sure.
and getting free from it, and
catching yourself when you're doing it.
Yeah.
That's a big one too.
Yeah. Everybody. I think everybody does it to a certain. I mean, I'd be saying, no, I don't. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, come on, bud. Fuck.
Sometimes you do it. It's like you said. I mean, it's just that ego in your head and the
Yep.
conditioning of competition and whatnot as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I would say that I do, but
you're better at kind of reversing it.
reversing it and just trying
Yeah.
to be. Like I said. If I'm looking for approval from other people, then you have no choice but to it. But when you realize you're fine from here and align
Yeah.
yourself a little bit more, it's not needed so much, right?
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with like dressing nice, taking care of yourself, and doing those things without
Right.
having to compare yourself to other people.
Right. Well, that's a good note to end on, man. I
Yep.
appreciate you coming. We had a great conversation.
Yep.
And so anyone that wants to see Gilles, London Hypnotherapy Center.
Yep. .ca.
.ca.
Yep.
And look for his shows, which is Mastermind Hypnosis.
.com.
.com.
You got
it. .ca and .com, right?
Yeah, and if you want to learn,
Right.
there's also hypnosistraining.ca.
Okay.
I just finished a course about a week or two ago, so the dates are going to be updated very soon. It'll probably be the next course will be September, October.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. And ladies, he's single. I happen to know that he loves BDSM and 50 Shades of Grey. So no.
Hey, actually, I didn't mind 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah,
Actually,
there
somebody
we
dragged
go.
me to it, and I watched it.
So that's for next podcast. We're going to get into Gilles and the whips and chains.
Yes.
But for now, ladies, reach out to him anytime, or anybody for that matter. Do they reach out to you to book an appointment? Can they reach out through the Facebook feed? Or
Yeah, they can reach out there. They can, I have a Facebook page as well.
Yep.
And again, through the website,
Sure.
or just call me, right? I'm available.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's it for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed Mental Health and Motivational Monday. It was really cool having a hypnotherapist here in the house. So,
Yes, my pleasure.
And a DJ. We should spin some tunes now,
Right,
sober.
Right. Sober tunes.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for tonight, and we'll see you Wednesday for a special Woman Crush Wednesday, potentially at the beach. All right, talk to you soon.